Welcome back, everyone. I'm Emily, and today we're diving into a powerful method that can transform how you learn English. Have you ever felt stuck while speaking, like your brain is translating every word from your native language? Well, today we'll talk about how you can train your brain to think directly in English. No more translating. You'll speak faster, feel more confident, and sound more natural. This is a game changer, and I can't wait to share it with you. We'll break down simple, practical strategies that you can start using today. And the best part is, you don't need to be perfect to get started. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's get into how to start thinking in English. Let's talk about why thinking in English is so important. Imagine you're in a conversation. Someone asks, "What did you have for breakfast?" Now, if your brain translates that question into your native language, then you think of the answer and then translate it back into English. That's already 4 steps. By the time you've finished, the conversation has moved on. This is a huge problem for many English learners. They're not slow because they don't know the words. They're slow because their brain is stuck translating everything. This translation process creates a delay. It makes it harder to respond quickly. And that's where the frustration comes in. It's not just about knowing words, it's about accessing those words quickly. So, how do we solve this? The answer is simple. Train your brain to think directly in English. When you start thinking in English, you skip the translation step. You can hear the question, process it, and answer it all in English without any delays. This is how fluent speakers can respond quickly and naturally. They don't need to pause and translate. Their brain has switched to English mode. And this shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a skill that requires practice. But trust me, once you start, it becomes easier and faster. When your brain starts thinking directly in English, everything becomes smoother. It's like switching from walking to riding a bike. At first, it's wobbly, but with practice, you get faster and more confident. Your thoughts flow naturally. Think about it. When you think in your native language, you filter everything through that language. But when you think in English, you skip that filter. This makes communication faster and more efficient. One of the biggest advantages is fluency. You don't need to know every word to be fluent. Fluency is about how quickly and naturally you can use the words you already know. That's what thinking in English helps you achieve. It allows you to use English on the spot, without hesitation. It's not just about speaking. Thinking in English also improves your listening skills. Imagine listening to English and having to translate each sentence in your head. By the time you understand it, the conversation has moved on. But if you're thinking in English, you can process what you hear right away. You won't miss anything. You'll understand in real time, making your listening skills much sharper. The great thing about thinking in English is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to know every word. Start simple. For example, if you're hungry, say it in English. I am hungry. If you like a song, say, I like this song. If it's hot today, say, it's hot today. Simple thoughts, but they count. Over time, these small thoughts build up. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Soon, you'll find yourself thinking in English automatically. The key is to start. It's not about perfection, it's about practice. Just a little practice every day will train your brain to switch to English mode. And once it does, speaking, listening, reading, and writing will become so much easier. So, let's stop translating. Let's start thinking in English today. Let's dive into the benefits of thinking in English. We've already talked about fluency, but it doesn't stop there. When you start thinking directly in English, your confidence skyrockets. It's like a switch flips in your brain. You stop worrying about translation, and instead, you focus on expressing yourself. This shift is powerful. Confidence is key to effective communication, and when your brain is in English mode, you can speak without hesitation. You're not mentally jumping between languages. You're thinking, speaking, and responding in one language. This makes the entire process smoother. It feels natural. Think about your daily conversations. When you're not translating, everything flows better. You don't have to stop to search for the right word. It just comes to you. And that makes a huge difference in how you feel about speaking English. Your confidence grows because you don't feel stuck or unsure. You're able to express yourself clearly. But there's more. Thinking in English also helps improve your listening. If you're constantly translating English into your native language, you're always one step behind in a conversation. You miss important details. By the time you understand the meaning, the conversation has moved on. But when your brain is used to thinking in English, you can follow conversations in real time. You won't be left behind. Your brain processes everything in English, making it easier to understand and respond to what you hear. It's like being able to follow a conversation without delays. Imagine how much more connected you'll feel when you don't have to translate. Your listening will improve, and you'll start catching every detail. It's not just about hearing the words, it's about understanding the flow of the conversation. When you think in English, you'll also find that reading and writing get easier. This is because your brain is already in English mode. When you read, you're not translating every sentence. You're understanding it directly in English. The same goes for writing. Your sentences will flow naturally. You'll spend less time trying to find the right words or struggling with grammar. Thinking in English helps you become more efficient with reading and writing. But let's not forget the emotional side of things. When you think in English, you feel more comfortable in conversations. You're not worried about making mistakes. The fear of getting things wrong fades away. Instead, you're focused on communication, not perfection. And that's the key to building real fluency. It's not about being perfect all the time. It's about being able to express yourself comfortably. And this comfort comes from thinking in English. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon, it won't feel like work. It'll just be the way you communicate. So, if you want to improve your speaking, listening, reading, and writing, start training your brain to think in English. It's the best way to speed up your fluency and improve your overall language skills. The more you think in English, the more natural it becomes. Your brain will get used to it, and eventually, you'll think and speak in English without even thinking about it. It's an amazing feeling. And the best part? It's within your reach. You just have to practice. Start today and watch how quickly your confidence and fluency grow. Now, let's talk about how you can actually start thinking in English. It's one thing to know it's important, but how do you make it happen? Well, the good news is that you don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to spend hours studying grammar. There are simple, practical strategies that you can start using today. These strategies are not complicated. You don't need special tools. You just need to make small changes in your daily life. The first method is something that many people overlook: self-talk. Yes, you heard that right. Talk to yourself in English. It sounds funny, but it's incredibly powerful. You can do this throughout your day. For example, when you wake up, instead of thinking in your native language, think in English. Say something like, "Good morning. I feel tired, but I need to brush my teeth." Or, when you're cooking, you can say, "Now I'm cutting the vegetables, I'm adding salt, the water is boiling." It's like narrating your life in English. The best part? You don't need anyone else, it's just you, talking to yourself. You can do this in your head or out loud. It's a way to practice forming English sentences without any pressure. Over time, you'll notice that your brain starts choosing English words before your native language. The second method is visual association. This means using your environment to your advantage. Look around you right now. Everything you see can become an opportunity to practice English. Start by naming the things around you. For example, this is a chair. That's my phone. I'm holding a pen. And don't stop there. Try to form complete sentences. Instead of just saying pen, say, "The pen is on the table." I use this pen every day. This turns your environment into a personal English classroom. The more you connect things around you to English words, the faster your brain will associate English with the world around you. If you don't know a word, that's okay. Write it down, look it up later, and next time you'll know it. This method builds a habit of connecting English directly to objects without the need for translation. It's a great way to train your brain to stay in English mode. The third method is immersion. But here's the trick. You don't need to travel to an English-speaking country to create immersion. You can create an immersive environment right where you are. Listen to English podcasts, watch YouTube videos or movies in English, and read English articles. Change the language settings on your phone or computer to English. One of the best ways to practice immersion is shadowing. This means listening to someone speaking English, like in a podcast or a video, and then immediately repeating what they say. It's like echoing their words. Shadowing helps your mouth, your ears, and your brain work together. You start to think in the rhythm and patterns of English, not just individual words. Even if you can't travel, you can surround yourself with English every day. It's about making English a part of your daily life. The fourth strategy is to start thinking in simple English first. Don't try to form complex, perfect sentences right away. This can make you freeze and get stuck. Instead, start simple. For example, instead of thinking, I had an exhausting day at work because my boss gave me a complicated project, just say, I am tired. Work was hard. It's still thinking in English, and it's powerful. Once you feel comfortable with simple sentences, you can start expanding them. For instance, work was hard today. My boss gave me a big project. Over time, you'll be able to form longer, more complex sentences. But the key is to start simple. It's like learning to ride a bike. You start with training wheels, and eventually you can ride on your own. And don't worry about mistakes. Native speakers use simple sentences all the time. Short, clear thoughts are effective too. The fifth method is journaling. Writing down your thoughts in English, even for just 5 minutes a day, is an excellent way to train your brain to think in English. You don't have to write about anything big. Just write about your day. For example, I woke up late, I had coffee, I watched a funny video. As you write, you'll notice which words come easily and which ones are missing. This helps you focus on expanding your vocabulary and building your fluency. And the best part? After a few weeks, you'll be able to look back at your journal and see how much progress you've made. This is incredibly motivating. You'll see that your brain is slowly switching to English mode. So, those are 5 practical strategies: self-talk, visual association, immersion, simple thinking, and journaling. Each one helps you train your brain in a slightly different way. Together, they create a powerful system to help you think directly in English. Now, let's discuss some of the challenges you might face when trying to think in English, and more importantly, how to overcome them. Learning to think in English is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and practice. One common struggle that many learners face is getting stuck or going blank. You're trying to think in English, but suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. You know the words, but they just won't come out. This can be frustrating, but don't worry, it happens to everyone. The key is not to panic. When this happens, start with the simplest words you know. Even if you can only think, I don't know the word, say that in English. Keep speaking, even if it's just a small phrase. This helps your brain stay in English mode. The more you push through these little moments, the faster your brain will start retrieving English words. It's all about consistency. Over time, you'll be able to think of the right words more quickly. Another challenge that many learners face is the fear of making mistakes. This fear can hold you back from speaking confidently. You might think, what if I make a mistake? What if my sentence is wrong? But here's the thing. Mistakes are part of the process. In fact, making mistakes is proof that you're practicing. The more you speak and make mistakes, the more you learn. It's not about speaking perfectly every time. The goal is fluency, not perfection. If you wait until you're perfect before you start thinking in English, you'll be waiting forever. So, allow yourself to make mistakes. The more you practice speaking, the easier it will become, and the fewer mistakes you'll make over time. This is how learning works. You learn by doing, not by being perfect. Another common struggle is switching back to your native language. Sometimes, when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed, your brain might automatically slip back into your native language. This is completely normal. But the key is to gently remind yourself to stay in English. You can even create little English zones in your day. For example, you can decide that for 10 minutes in the morning, you will only think in English. Or, before bed, you can spend a few minutes writing in English. These small moments can help you train your brain to stay in English, even when you're tired or stressed. The more you practice, the easier it will be to stay in English mode. And here's a big tip. Keep your environment English friendly. Surround yourself with English. This can be as simple as listening to English podcasts while you're doing chores, watching TV shows in English, or reading articles in English. The more you expose yourself to English, the easier it will be to think in it. If you're struggling with getting back into English mode, remind yourself why you're doing this. Thinking in English will make you a better speaker, a better listener, and a more confident communicator. It's not always easy, but the rewards are worth it. The more you practice thinking in English, the more natural it will become. It's like building a muscle. At first, it's hard, but with time and repetition, it gets stronger and easier. So don't worry if you face challenges. It's all part of the learning process. Stay patient, keep practicing, and you'll see improvements every day. Remember, the key is to stay consistent and keep going. Your brain will start to switch to English, and soon, thinking in English will feel like second nature. Let's talk about the importance of consistency when it comes to thinking in English. Learning a language is a journey, and like any journey, it takes time. The key to success is practice, practice, and more practice. The more consistent you are, the faster your brain will switch to English mode. It's like training for a sport or learning a musical instrument. At first, it's challenging, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. And the best part? Every little bit of effort counts. You don't need to make big changes overnight. Small, consistent practice every day is enough to make a huge difference. So, how can you build consistency in your language learning? One great method is setting small, manageable goals. For example, you can decide to practice thinking in English for 5 minutes every morning or before bed. Start with a short period of time, and then gradually increase it. This makes it easy to stick with the habit, and you'll notice improvements over time. Another way to build consistency is to incorporate English into your daily routine. For instance, you can set reminders on your phone to think in English for a few minutes during the day. You can also label things around your house with their English names. This constant exposure to English will reinforce the habit. You can also create a routine around self-talk, which we discussed earlier. For example, you can practice self-talk while doing chores. As you're washing the dishes or making coffee, you can talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing. I'm washing the dishes, I'm making coffee, the water is boiling. This will help you keep your brain in English mode. Don't be afraid of making mistakes while doing this. The goal isn't perfection. It's about getting your brain used to thinking in English. One thing to keep in mind is that progress may be slow at first, and that's okay. Language learning is a gradual process. You might not see immediate results, but trust me, with time, you'll notice a shift. You'll start to notice that thinking in English becomes easier, more natural, and even automatic. You won't have to think about it, it will just happen. That's the beauty of consistency. Another way to build consistency is through journaling, which is another method we've talked about before. Journaling is a great way to reflect on your day in English. Even if it's just a few sentences, it helps you get comfortable with using the language. Write about simple things like what you had for lunch, how you felt today, or what you're planning to do tomorrow. Over time, you'll notice that your thoughts are in English more often, and your writing will flow more naturally. If you do this every day, you'll see how much progress you're making. And remember, The goal is not to be perfect, it's to keep improving. Consistency is key to becoming fluent in English. It's not about spending hours each day, it's about doing a little bit every day. And every time you practice, you're strengthening the connection between your brain and the English language. Another important point is to surround yourself with English as much as possible. When you immerse yourself in the language, your brain starts to get used to hearing and thinking in English. This can be through listening to English music, watching TV shows or movies, reading articles, or talking to native speakers. All of these activities will help you build consistency and reinforce the habit of thinking in English. In fact, the more you surround yourself with English, the faster your brain will switch to English mode. It's not just about practicing the language, it's about making it a part of your daily life. And don't be discouraged if you don't see progress right away. It's okay to take your time. The more consistent you are, the more you'll see improvement. Just stick with it. Thinking in English doesn't have to be difficult or stressful. With regular practice, it will become second nature, and you'll see your fluency and confidence grow. The key is to stay consistent and keep practicing every day. Soon, thinking in English will feel as natural as speaking your native language. Let's explore another key part of thinking in English: overcoming the obstacles that come with learning a new language. No matter how much you practice, you'll face challenges along the way. It's important to recognize them and know how to overcome them. One common struggle many learners face is getting frustrated when things don't seem to improve as quickly as they want. Language learning is a long journey, and it's easy to get discouraged. But here's the thing: progress takes time. You won't go from thinking in your native language to thinking in English overnight. It's a gradual process. The key is to stay patient and keep practicing. Even small steps forward count. If you're consistent, you will see improvement. Another challenge is the fear of speaking in front of others. You might feel nervous when trying to speak English, especially in a conversation with native speakers. But the truth is, everyone makes mistakes. Native speakers don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to understand you and engage in the conversation. So, don't be afraid to speak. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. The fear of making mistakes will fade away with experience. And remember, making mistakes is part of the learning process. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. It's not a failure, it's an opportunity to grow. You'll also face the challenge of feeling overwhelmed by all the new vocabulary and grammar rules. It can be tempting to focus on memorizing everything, but the key is to use what you already know. Start thinking in simple English first, as we've discussed before. If you're worried about making a mistake with complex sentences, don't stress. Start with simple phrases and build from there. Over time, you'll notice that your ability to express yourself becomes more fluid. Another challenge is when you feel like you've reached a plateau. You might feel like you're not improving as much as you used to. This can be frustrating, but it's important to recognize that this is a normal part of the learning process. When you first start learning a language, progress comes quickly. But after a while, things slow down. This is when you need to remind yourself of your progress. Look back at where you started and see how far you've come. Celebrate your small wins. Every step forward is progress, even if it feels small. Sometimes, the plateau is just a sign that you've reached a level of comfort. Now, it's time to push yourself to the next level. Challenge yourself with more difficult materials, like listening to podcasts, watching movies without subtitles, or speaking with native speakers. This will help you break through the plateau and continue making progress. Another obstacle that many learners face is the lack of motivation. When learning a language, there will be times when you feel unmotivated, especially when progress feels slow. This is normal, and it happens to everyone. The key is to find ways to keep yourself motivated. Set small, achievable goals for yourself. For example, challenge yourself to think in English for 10 minutes every day, or write a short journal entry in English each day. These small goals will keep you moving forward and give you a sense of accomplishment. You can also find motivation by connecting with others who are learning English. Join a language learning group or find a language partner. Sharing your progress with others can be incredibly motivating. And if you ever feel discouraged, remember why you started. Learning English opens doors to new opportunities. It's a powerful tool that can help you connect with people from all over the world. So, stay focused, stay patient, and keep practicing. The obstacles you face today will only make you stronger in the long run. As you continue practicing, you'll find that thinking in English becomes more natural. You'll make fewer mistakes, speak more confidently, and understand English faster. The key is to keep going. Don't let the challenges stop you. Keep pushing forward, and soon you'll reach new heights in your English fluency. Let's wrap up by talking about some final strategies to help you maintain momentum and keep improving your English. We've covered a lot of techniques so far, and now it's time to focus on how to stay consistent in the long run. One of the most important things to remember is that language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. It's easy to get excited at the beginning, but maintaining that motivation over time can be challenging. The key is to make learning English a part of your daily life. You don't need hours of study every day. Small, consistent actions can add up to significant improvement over time. Start with a simple routine that works for you. Maybe it's practicing self-talk in English for a few minutes every morning, or listening to a podcast while commuting. Maybe it's reading an article in English before bed. The more you make English a regular part of your day, the easier it will become to think and speak in English naturally. Another important strategy is to set realistic goals for yourself. Setting goals gives you something to aim for, and achieving them helps keep you motivated. For example, you could set a goal to learn 10 new words each week, or challenge yourself to have a 5-minute conversation in English by the end of the month. Make sure your goals are achievable. Break them down into smaller steps so you can track your progress. When you accomplish your goals, celebrate your success. This will help keep you motivated and remind you of how far you've come. It's also important to recognize that learning English, or any language, isn't just about studying words and grammar rules. It's about connecting with people and experiencing the world in a new way. Try to use your English skills in real-life situations. This could mean having a conversation with a friend, joining a language exchange group, or participating in online discussions. When you use English in real contexts, it becomes more meaningful, and you'll start to feel more confident. The more you practice speaking, listening, reading, and writing in real-world situations, the more your skills will improve. It's one thing to study grammar and vocabulary. It's another to apply them. By actively engaging with English, you'll accelerate your learning. Another great way to stay motivated is to immerse yourself in English. Surround yourself with the language as much as possible. Listen to English music, watch English TV shows or movies, read books in English, and follow social media accounts in English. The more you immerse yourself in English, the faster you'll start thinking in English. Immersion helps you hear how native speakers use the language, pick up on new phrases and expressions, and improve your understanding of how the language works in different contexts. The key is to make immersion enjoyable. Don't think of it as a chore. Find activities that you enjoy, whether it's watching movies, reading your favorite blogs, or listening to podcasts. When you enjoy the learning process, it won't feel like work. You'll be more motivated to stick with it. Remember, mistakes are a part of the process. Don't be afraid to make them. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. If you make a mistake, laugh it off and keep going. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make, and the more natural it will feel to think in English. Finally, don't forget to enjoy the journey. Learning English is a process, and it's important to appreciate the progress you're making. Celebrate your small victories, whether it's being able to understand a conversation or speaking without hesitation. Each step forward is a step closer to fluency. The key to long-term success is consistency. Keep practicing, stay patient, and celebrate your progress. Before you know it, thinking and speaking in English will become second nature, and you'll be able to communicate with confidence in any situation. As we wrap up today's episode, remember that thinking in English is a journey, not a race. It takes time, practice, and patience. But every step you take brings you closer to fluency. Start with small changes, like self-talk or labeling things around you. Make English a part of your daily routine. Set realistic goals and celebrate your progress along the way. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're a natural part of the learning process. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and don't give up. Before you know it, you'll be thinking in English without even thinking about it. So, keep pushing forward, stay consistent, and enjoy the journey. You've got this.